What's up, everybody? Welcome into another Big Man on Campus college football preview video. Today, we're taking a look at another Week 5 game here. K-State headed on the road down to T. Boone's Pickens Stadium to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Cowboys currently a 4.5-point favorite. Total is 60. And we're back with Ian Cameron, who just gave a great case for another video. Make sure you go check that out on the channel. If you're new around here, make sure you're hitting the subscriber button so you never miss a video. Plenty of videos coming as well. Ian, let's jump into it here. Oklahoma State, Kansas State. K-State is off a bye. The last game they had was a big win against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And how about a good time for a bye, Ian? You get that, get that excitement out of you now. You had some time to think about your big win. You didn't have to come right back like some teams like Maryland did and face another tough team. What a great time for a bye, at least to me, because you have a big stretch in your calendar coming up here where you need to kind of, tweak some things, fix some things. Chris Kleiman building a culture there. You had some week to think about it. Now what? Now let's go. And let's show this conference we're a good football team, and we can go bowling, and we can maybe win this conference. A lot to be excited about if you're a K-State fan. Chris Kleiman already looks like he's installing a culture there in Manhattan. This is a tough game, though. Oklahoma State coming in. We know the talk with this group. Big-time offense, impressive offense. Chuba Hubbard, one of the best running backs in the country no one talks about. Tylan Wallace is the best receiver in the country that nobody ever talks about. And Spencer Sanders is quite a quarterback. You look at this team, 30 or more points in every game this year. And in 2 of those games, they scored 50 or more. Battled with Texas last week, got a cover. They were right in that game for most of it. This is, though, a defense that obviously, as usual, struggles. I ask you, Ian, you got a 3-0 and a 3-1 team. Okie State laying 4.5. What do you like here?
This is actually one of my favorite games on this card this week from a betting standpoint. I think we've got bet on versus bet against in this situation. I think we've got one team that's in a bet against spot, the other team in a bet on spot. And one of my, I'll say this in every sport, but especially football, NFL or college, you're not going to be seeing me lay points with bad defenses. And I love Oklahoma State, and I love Mike Gundy. He's done a great job with this program, but he's got a bad defense on his hands here. With this Oklahoma State team. I've not been impressed. When you're giving up 416 yards per game on defense like Oklahoma State is, it's not the kind of team I want laying 5, especially when you're coming off a physical, emotional grinder of a football game last Saturday night against Texas. Obviously a huge game that was in the Big 12. I thought Oklahoma State, made a decent account of themselves, but when push came to shove, couldn't get a stop against Sam Ehlinger and that Longhorns offense when it mattered the most. They end up losing 36-30 in that game last week. So it's a little bit of a tricky hangover spot, I think, for Oklahoma State here coming back home, facing this Kansas State team. Let's not forget, Tulsa moved the ball against Oklahoma State, 21 points. McNeese State even had some success. And even in the opener, and I was certainly happy about that. If you think way back to the opening game against Oregon State, as I bet the over in that game, Oregon State moved the ball up and down against that Oklahoma State defense for a good chunk of it with Jake Luton and the great running back that they've got. So there's some concerns with this Oklahoma State defense. They have not been able to show me that they can get stops when it matters the most. And I'm starting to become a believer in Chris Kleiman. I think he has done a remarkable job already in just a few games. That Mississippi State win on the road before their bye week, I think it does look a little bit more impressive after what we saw Mississippi State do against Kentucky last week in Starkville. Had a really nice bounce back game, the Bulldogs there. Skylar Thompson, I'm not going to say he's a phenomenal quarterback, but I think he's cut down on the mistakes, the turnovers that plagued him. They've got a great run game here, which is going to be, I think, a little bit of a problem here for Oklahoma State on the defensive side. And, Kansas State's defense, certainly in terms of facing a guy like Sanders, big man, it'll be a good test for them. But I still got to favor their defense right now over Oklahoma State's in terms of acumen and aptitude and being able to rise up and get stops when you need them to. You look at series history as well. I mean, this has been a problematic series history for Oklahoma State facing this Kansas State team. I mean, Kansas State's won outright as an underdog each of the last 2 head-to-head meetings. 2017, 45-40. Kansas State wins that game as almost 20-point underdogs. And then last year, 8-point home underdogs. We remember how Kansas State was falling apart at times last year, and they just bombed Oklahoma State 31-12 last year. So I don't see where Oklahoma State, from a spot perspective or from a fundamental standpoint in terms of the matchup on the field, where I can trust them laying 5 points. And you give a guy like Kleiman, who I think is a phenomenal head football coach. I think we're finding that out. This K-State offense, big man, it's night and day from the Snyder days. I'm seeing some diversity. I'm seeing some nice play calling. I'm seeing a lot more balance. I'm just seeing a lot more quality out of this offense. They're playing a little faster. Remember, it was a slow, snail-paced offense for years. They're playing with a little bit more pace and tempo now, Kansas State. Not a lightning fast, but at least they're trying to show a little bit more creativity, diversity, play a little faster on offense. And Chris Kleiman comes from a winning culture. I know it was North Dakota State, FCS, but you win 4 championships in 5 seasons. You're doing something right there. Plus, it's the bye week, extra time to prepare for what I think is a quality head coach in Kleiman to get his team ready. Yeah, we're going to back the points with Kansas State here in a game I think they win outright.
Yeah, I actually really like this spot as well. You look at Oklahoma State, great underdog. This team has covered 6 straight as a dog, winning 4 of those games outright. But this has been a different team laying points. You look at Oklahoma State over the last 10 games at home, laying points are 4-6 against the number, 11-12 overall as a favorite over the last 3 seasons. They're not as good in this role. They're more of the hunted as opposed to being the hunter. That's not a spot I like, especially with a K-State team coming off a bye, had plenty of time to prepare. And you're right. This is an Oklahoma State defense that, as usual, not very good. I was as well on the over in that Oregon State game. And, Luton and the boys, if they learned how to throw the football a little bit better, who knows what would happen in that game. You have a team here in K-State who has loved to establish the run. And if you remember back to that game, that Oregon State run offense ran all over Oklahoma State. This is a good running back in James Gilbert. And if you remember the name, he played at Ball State. He actually transferred. Great move by them to bring him in, a big play runner that can make people miss. Skylar Thompson, I think, is serviceable. I do look at this game, though, and have to figure. You have to think this is going to turn into a shootout. Look, for what it's worth, Oklahoma State at home, it's dangerous betting against. They're so good on offense. I look at this K-State defense. I wonder what it is. Bowling Green might be the worst team in the country. Nicholls State, they're obviously on another level than Nicholls State. And look, Mississippi State, for what it's worth, did put up 24 points. They're not as explosive as what Oklahoma State is. Oklahoma State's a top 5 offense in the country. I look at this total, and I think for you make a good point. This is an interesting offense. This is a funner offense for K-State. It's not that bogged down, run the football, zone read crap that we've seen. They're a little bit more electrifying, a little bit more up-tempo, a little bit quicker. They have some playmakers on the outside. I got to tell you, 60 seems too low. This seems like why is this total 60? Can anyone explain that to me? Because, look, I'd understand if it was 70. Some of them totals are just a bit high. But, I'm really not quite understanding why this total is only 60. What's the story there?
First of all, it's early in the week, and I know I haven't had a chance yet to look at the weather forecast in Stillwater for Saturday, so maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. And I think a lot of the sentiment also, if it's not weather-related, it could be that people just know Kansas State as this plodding, methodical, not very good offense for the years that it has been that way for the Wildcats. But, yes.
Yeah, you look at Saturday in Stillwater, mid-afternoon, 84. Is going to be some wind. 12 to 13 miles an hour. That could be problematic, maybe, but I think 60 is too low. To me, this game seems like 41-31 or like 34-31 or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm just voicing trying to put myself in the mindset of what the betting markets are seeing, that maybe there's going to be a weather issue. There are people thinking that, Kansas State, all defense, no offense, which isn't the case, by the way. Right. This is a Kansas State offense. The bottom line is, all that being said, I agree with you. If I'm looking at this game from a totals perspective, I'm going over the total. I'm going to wait and see if I can get an even lower number, because this opened 63.5. This total, it's already been bet down 3.5 points all the way down to 60. I'm going to just wait it out, see if I can get the best, the lowest number possible prior to kickoff, and then come back the other way because, I don't like Oklahoma State's defense. I think Kansas State will do damage against them. And even on the Kansas State defensive side, even though I like them from a side perspective plus points, their defense is not going to shut down Oklahoma State offensively completely at home. Not with Sanders. He can move the ball, dual threat quarterback. We still don't know how great Kansas State's defense is. Yeah, they shut out a bad Bowling Green team, but Bowling Green's terrible. They played Nicholls State in the opener, and Mississippi State 24 points they allowed in that game, and Mississippi State with quarterback issues, offensive line injuries. So this is going to be a good test for that Kansas State defense. But I'm with you. I'll wait this thing out, see if I can get even a better number before Saturday, and I'll look to buck this move toward the under, which I don't agree with.
It's interesting, Ian. You look at K-State in the 2 home games against Nicholls and Bowling Green, 79 plays a game. Very good, very fast.
Way more than they ever had under Bill Snyder. It's not even close.
You look to the Mississippi State game, like 60. But we remember, if you know anything about Mississippi State, they go very slow as well. So that was just one of those low-tempo games, and it still got to 54. I mean, it's not like it was, it was 45. You also look at Oak State, 25th in the country in plays per game. They go quick. They go fast. They are explosive. I don't understand this one.
No, I agree. It's over a pass for me, and I'll probably get something in on this game over the total. I really, really like Kansas State +5, but I now that it's down to 60 and it might even drop further, who knows? We'll look over the total as well.
Yeah, 54 plays, Ian, in that Mississippi State game they ran, compared to 79 in the other 2 combined. Weird. I'm going to lean that way as well. Ian, great stuff, man. Great info on both these videos. Your videos are a little longer generally, but we know why. You packed them full, chocked full of content. Good stuff, Ian Cameron. Always happy to have you. We will talk to you again next week. We're looking forward to it.
Thanks, big man.